Pardon us?
No, I don't think I will. Well, this is gonna be fun. It's been pretty fun so far.
Call Capitol Police.
Don't call anyone.
I took all the risk. And I took it for you. You want in that governor's mansion so bad you'd probably sleep in his bed without changing the sheets. Oh. Don't you ever lay a fucking hand on me again. Man, that's some serious stuff, right? You really think I was a tough cookie. Well, I am. I am when we're talking about things that I really care about. And it just so happens that horses have become something I apparently really care about. And I didn't know this just 3 years ago. I think my rescue is now 2 years old, so she's a baby. But animals have always walked me through life. Truly, I don't think there's ever been a moment where I have not had an animal with me. And I don't know why that is, but it just, that's my reality. That's Dawn's world. My mom started it, my sister's a veterinarian now, and that's what I was gonna be when I grew up, but I decided that I didn't want to work on sick animals, I wanted to just hang out with the healthy ones. Which is funny, because now I run a horse rescue and all I do is help the sick ones. So it comes for you whether you think you're going to do it or not. It doesn't matter. Something that caught my eye about Bobby was just that he was saying things that nobody's saying things that I'm thinking, saying things that politicians don't seem to have the balls or the freedom, let's just call it freedom, to say. I believe that people are good at heart, and I think as we traverse our life, we make decisions and we make choices that bind us up and make it so we can't move so well. And the thing that's beautiful about somebody like Bobby and somebody like myself is that we have consciously walked through our life where freedom has been at the forefront. So much so that I left LA to move to the middle of Arkansas up against the woods because I thought I could hear God better. Because I thought being in a city with all of the noise and all of the perspectives that weren't mine and all of the things that they would tell me I had to be, I was drowning out my own connection to Source. And so I left all of that and I went to Arkansas to live up against those woods, like the wildest woods I could find. In Arkansas, what's beautiful about Arkansas, when you look at a state, it's fully green, and I always would pick a place to live that got me as close to the green as I could get, probably because I needed to hear that message. And when I got there, and I said, oh, this is it, it's peace, right? God was like, no, you have to rescue a shit ton of horses, and you gotta do it right now. And I'm like, whoa, okay, I don't know anything about this world. An actor strike happened, so when actor strikes happen, it was right on the heels of COVID, so what all that means is that there was no more money. Right? You just don't have any job, there's no more money, can't pay for stuff, so you just have to sit still. So I was out here in the middle of Arkansas, I was like, I'm gonna talk to God, great, here's your conversation, now there's no work. I was like, wow, now I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I had a lot of goats, so I thought, well, maybe I could be a goat farmer. And I would raise these really beautiful blue-eyed Nubians, and they're amazing goats, but then it was an economic downturn. Nobody wanted any goats where I moved, because nobody had any money, so it was just me and 70 goats, can you imagine? And they multiplied fast, you guys. Forget rabbits, like try goats, it's a real deal. So then I had all this land, and I was up against this beautiful forest, and no work, so a lot of time, so I had to get creative, and I thought, well, I'm on Facebook, because that's what they use out there. There's no more Instagram, there's no PayPal. I think I brought PayPal to Arkansas, by the way. I swear to God I did. So I'm on Facebook, right, learning how to use that platform, and I see this picture of this woman, it's an avatar, and she's got her hand up, she's got a cowboy hat on, she's got her hand up, her face, and she's like, help me, I'm drowning. And I thought, what my first thought was, what would inspire someone to first take the time out of their day to create that avatar? You gotta like pick the hat, pick the face, the expression, and the lips and the eyes, and I was like, my God, who would do this? They must really need help. So I clicked on it, and then my life changed. That woman was asking for help because all these wild horses were at this place called a kill auction. And I had no idea what any of this meant. I had 4 horses, but none of them, for some reason I just didn't know this world even existed. I didn't understand. So I was going deeper, right? And I saw all these beautiful Appaloosa blue-eyed unicorns, mama babies, right? Tiny little foals, brand new, tiny little tails just popping out, little manes barely sticking up. Mama baby pairs, owned by the kill buyer, in big red block letters at the top. And I go, well, that can't be real. What is that? I can't kill babies. That's not allowed, right? It's not? It is. And so I thought, well, I have to figure out something. I can probably save 2. And maybe I could save 2 pairs, and I could film what it took to take an unhandled mama, is what they were, unhandled, completely unhandled, and I would learn how to train it, and I would invite my followers in on the deal. And in exchange, I put my PayPal up there. You could help me pay for the food. Like if that's a good idea, I can learn something, you can watch something, I can have a job right now, right? I create my own content. And the second I put that up, I had all the money to get them all, to get the 2 that I wanted. And I was like, well, that was too fast to not make sense of it, right? And so I'm a very spiritual person. So when I see energy move like that, I look at it and I go, what else is talking to me right now? Because it wasn't just save these 2 horses, good job. It was do it again. So I said, well, what if I could do another 4 pair? I was like, oh, okay, whatever, just keep saying yes. I was gonna rescue 2 pairs, and I ended up bringing home 29. Don't clap yet, it was a really dumb thing to do. Because you don't understand how hard it is to keep 29 horses alive from the beginning with no plan. No plan. You don't realize how much anxiety it takes, how much stress you go through. But I did it, and I had 1 truck that wasn't 4-wheel drive, and I had my little trailer that I could barely put those 4 horses in, let alone now I have 29, and they're wild. Did I mention they're wild horses? You can't touch them. How are you supposed to do anything? Fine, right? We figure it out, and that's what you do in the South. It's something that I love about a rural mentality is their main log line is, we'll figure it out. And I figured it out. And from that was born a 501c3 in lightning speed. I found volunteers that turned into staff members and now currently run one of the largest horse rescues in 2 years in the nation with 10 staff members, many volunteers, people that travel in. I have 100 horses on property at all times. We have rehomed over 500 to date. That's a big number for someone just starting out working with wild, unhandled horses. And I felt like I didn't understand what I was seeing, and I was killing myself trying to make a difference. And I looked at the girls that were already in the game, and they were doing a really good job, better job than me. I mean, one girl, she runs another rescue called All Seated in the Barn in California, if you guys have heard of that rescue. She has at times 500 on location at any moment. So I went to her as a mentor and I said, teach me everything you know about this horse situation. And what I did learn is it's too much for just a couple girls working on these front lines. So I said, guys, keep doing what you're doing. I'm gonna trek upstream and I'm gonna see who left the faucet on and I'm gonna try to turn it off. And where that brought me were places like here, places like Bobby Kahn and Nevada. Nevada has 50% of the BLM's full count of wild horses. That's a big, big chunk, you guys. Your state has half of these wild horses just right here. Now that's BLM, Bureau of Land Management. Then you have other factions, like you have reservation horses, which were a large percentage of what I have on my rescue. And then you have Forest Service. They all have different roles, different things are happening, but ultimately The slaughter pipeline leads down to one place, and I'm going to teach you about that place.
They're like angelic type beings on this plane, this ethereal plane that we live on.
I think it's very bucolic, the idea of having horses and the lifestyle and how beautiful it is, right? You always see images of horses and they're running across a pasture, or you're brushing them and everything is great and they look amazing. And then there's this other world.
Horse meat. We are one of the top 10 producers worldwide, and there are growing concerns about a part of the industry that some say is inhumane.
This is the Bowie, Texas livestock auction. It happens every month. And horses from all around the country are brought in by the semi-load, and they're loaded onto these chutes and brought out to be bid on by mostly kill buyers, a very small group of tight-knit girls that run rescues like mine, and then the house. The house is the worst one, and when the house wins, the horses absolutely lose. When the auction is over, they're organized and separated, and most of those, especially ones that the house bought, are brought down to areas called the direct ship pens, brought through chutes to be tagged for the USDA, and then loaded onto these trucks until they go all the way down across the border, 22 hours, no food, no water, to be put to death by electric shock to the head. This is America's slaughter pipeline. It's one of those places that's on the edge of humanity. Not a lot of people have enough courage to go there in person, and I can do it sometimes. I can't do it all the time. It really does take a toll on every part of you that is human, every part of you that has a heart. I've rescued a lot of horses, but I appreciate it, but I think about all the ones I couldn't get to. So it brings me to a stage like this, because I need to tell more people that this is happening. I need to tell you that your horses that are coming from your land are ending up here. And it's not okay. It's not okay, not because we should want to see horses on a ridge, or they should be here because they were native and they belong here. It's wrong because creation doesn't make a mistake. It's not our job, or even within the realm of our ability, to say, God made that, I'm going to throw it in the trash now because I've decided we have too many. And when you do the work that I do and you look into those eyes, just like a dog's eyes, it's the same. It's a God light. It's vibrating. It's resonating from inside of that animal. And horses are extremely unique because if you think about it, they're the only animal we go to the Olympics with. We don't have cattle therapy programs. We have equine therapy programs. Why? Well, I guarantee you there's things about the horses that only a small group of people know. And if you have one, you understand. If you don't, I implore you to go make a connection with one, because they are teachers. They're walking teachers. Native Americans believe this vehemently. I'm doing work right now down in the Navajo reservation because when I was going down that path looking for the source of things, there is an inordinate number of reservation horses showing up at these auctions, and nobody bids because they're wild. You can't touch them. But when I go out there, all I see is that wild on them, and they don't deserve to be there. It's so pure, it's so honest, and I'm like, get as many of those as I can, because that's God in body right there. I sat with this trek, right? I went upstream, I looked around, I saw what was going on, I was like, so what's the problem here? I hear the problem, everyone has a problem. Save the horses, save the horses. They go to Washington, don't kill the horses, save the horses. For me, there's a reason I play a lawyer on TV. I have a very analytical mind while also being an artist. And I thought, well, if I was one of those politicians, I'd be like, thank you, ma'am. Have a nice day. You're bleeding heart alert. Like, kind of crazy. Don't get too close to that person. And so I thought, well, what if I didn't want to be one of those people? What if I want to come and present an actual viable solution to a problem that everyone sees and agrees across the board is an issue? And so what I saw mamas and babies. That very first rescue, I called it the Mama Baby Army because I needed the people to help me help the mamas and the babies. And what I see when these roundups happen, I see the babies. I see them running as hard as they can to keep up with their families. And I read about how their little feet aren't even finished growing, so their hooves fall off. It's called sloughing. And they can't even walk, and then they get put down. Right? I see, and I can't help but see children. I can't separate those things. It's just not at where I'm at now in my evolution, my spiritual evolution. I just see light. I just see light. So I thought, well, how can I save all of them? 100's not enough for me. I'm sorry. 500 not enough for me. I'm sorry. 1,000 not enough for me. I want to save them all. How do I do that? How does one actress that knows how to play games on TV, how do I do that? And then I thought, well, where's the mirror, right? I always look to nature. Where's the example? God gives us everything in a natural order of things, right? Where's my connection? And I said, well, we don't have a surplus of dogs and cats anymore. Why? Because we have spay and neuter clinics. Places that don't have access to spay and neuter procedures, they have a dog and cat problem. We have a horse problem. That's what they call it, a horse problem. But however you want to decide what the problem actually is, there's too many horses for the land that we have allocated for them. How do we manage population? How do you have 70 goats and not turn into 150 goats? Well, you gotta separate them, right? Can't let the boys touch the girls, that's the rule. Well, how do you do that with 90,000 wild horses running ranges that are sometimes impassable with vehicles? Right now, they send helicopters out and they push these horses into traps and the babies die. How can we do that better? I thought I started a horse rescue, but it turns out that I had created a tech company, which is very confusing even to me at the moment. I was like, there's no way. And then I realized this is it. This is how we're gonna do it. I've essentially come up with a hospital in the sky. It's called Ashva Prasada. And then in the nature of taking a thing to its source, it's Sanskrit for Ashva, horse, Prasada, the divine offering too. I have brought a group together and we have created drones that work off of an AI mesh network that can deliver contraception to wild horses from the sky. Thank you so much, guys. It's going to be a long road, but when I heard Bobby speaking about we're going to stop the roundups, I applaud that because I also think, well, how are you going to do it? Because I got the solution. How are you going to do it, Bobby? So I reached out to him and I said, listen, I want to help you. I want to help you with this message. I want to help you share with anyone that will listen the solution because I know I have it. I have it, and on my own small scale, I'm going on top of the mountain and I'm screaming it to the world. My rescue is called Moon Mountain Sanctuary Rescue. And this, I really believe, will go down in history as the source point for the tech that stopped the roundups.